Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. It is a beautiful, sunny 75-degree day here in Connecticut. It is tough to be inside, but right now it's halftime. Chiefs Niners. So I'm going to bang this out and get back to watch the second half of the game. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope the weather was as nice for you guys out there as it was here in Connecticut. I apologize for the last episode having my dates wrong on Hofstra, and I appreciate everyone who reached out to tell me I was wrong. And I know when I was saying it, I said, and for whatever reason, I just mixed up 2 weekends in October, and I just continued to do it over and over and over. I don't know why. This weekend and next weekend, I overbooked and then I underbooked, and I have no idea how it happened, but it did. So apologies on that. I did end up going to the American Dream Mall, the Collectors Marketplace show on Saturday, and I set up at the local New Britain show here in Connecticut today. And I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know if you're active in the hobby. You've been hearing me say the same thing, for the last few weeks about shows, and this weekend wasn't any different. The only exception with this weekend was I was able to acquire a huge PC card, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I know the Fanatics show in Orlando was the same weekend as the Dallas card show coming up in a couple weeks, and I know now they've canceled the Fanatics show. Actually, not canceled, but postponed it to early next year. And that's what people were talking about a lot this weekend. People who were committed to the Fanatics show are now all pivoting for the Dallas card show, and a lot a lot of people don't buy refundable airline tickets and travel and things like that. So I hope if you did have tickets that they're refundable, or at least you're able to change. I know that was becoming an issue with some people. I know in the Fanatics statement, they said they were going to reschedule, like I said, to early 2025 due to the impact of recent hurricanes. And really, whatever the reason, just never, and this is another thing we talk about a lot, never a good look to be setting up one big regional show against another. There's just no need for it. So let's jump into the episode. Saturday morning, I made arrangements with my guy Tyler at MT Cards and More. We met up. We drove down to the American Dream Mall in New Jersey on Saturday. I was super surprised to see a lot of empty tables at this show. We got there at about 11:15. And by 11:45, I've already done a lap around the show. And, I started asking people, like, why is there so many open tables here? And people were saying that Comic-Con was going on in New York City this weekend, which I didn't know. And said they felt that that's why, a lot of people decided to go to Comic-Con versus setting up at the show. So there's a lot of empty tables, and it's a long way to drive. For me, it's over an hour and a half each way. So it's a long drive to go and find out there's going to be a lot of empty tables. I ran into my guy, Nick, at the Slab Exchange. He was set up, and I haven't seen Nick in a while. It's been a long time since I've seen Nick. I used to set up next to him at the Garden State show in Sea Caucus, and we became friends. And I hadn't seen him in a while, and ran into him. It was good to see him. And he was set up. He had no cards in his case, just money. He was just buying. Big sign, buying. And I feel for most of the people, most of the dealers that were set up at this show with their signage, I felt the show was really set up more for people just to buy your cards. Um, I felt there was a lot of cards that, I would have certainly been interested, not a lot, but a number of them I'd be interested in, but the prices were so high, so over comps. That they didn't want to sell the cards, but they were just had them in their case. But a lot of people, that's what it is, these enormous buying signs, and people were lined up, with their cases. And it was also like almost like a buying event versus a selling event for the dealers. Um, as I walked the room the first time, I did see a few cards I was interested in. So on lap 2, I decided, I'm going to make a play for some cards, go talk to some people about it. 2 of the 3 cards that I saw, I could tell from the moment I asked about the cards, the dealers were not interested in selling the cards. Um, Basically said, you would have to make me an outrageous offer. Never even gave me a price on the card. They said, hey, what are you looking to get on this card? And they just shook their head and said, you would have to make me an outrageous offer to buy that card off of me, way over comps on it. There was another card I came across that I was thinking, and the guy said, look, I'm taking offers on the card, and I made an offer, and before I even got the word dollar dollars out of my mouth, he was like, no, 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 no. I'm like, all right. So I mean, again, and I said, is this a buying event? I mean, it doesn't feel like a real show. And he said, yeah, most people are here to buy. It's just one of those shows that people show up with their cards. A lot of people, and as a dealer, especially if you're looking to buy, this is the show to go to. Just set up and just buy cards. On my third lap around, one of the cards I was interested in, and the dealer was busy with customers the first 2 laps. So uh, he was now free. So I felt that I probably, with the card, I felt like I probably wasn't going to get a deal done. And it was one of those, it was like, should I? Well, you know what? I'm just going to go back anyways. I'm going to go back and inquire, because I just felt out of all the cards, this would be the card somebody really wouldn't want to sell. Um, and before I talk about the card and the deal, I just want to talk about my mindset with this card. A few episodes ago, I talked about having conversations with people that I really respect in the hobby, and them telling me that they're only chasing goats. Mahomes, Brady, Jordan, LeBron. Right? This is like not don't want to do any prospecting. Just want to go out on guys that are just proven. That's it. That's it. And that's they felt that that was the safest market. And I thought a lot about those conversations, and I thought a lot about that episode. Um, and then I took a good hard look at my remaining football inventory. Um, and I did say to somebody this weekend that for football cards, like the season, I just feel like we're at the end of the season already, because you can just see all the prices declining on everyone. So it's really comes a decision time right now for me. Do we try to sell them off, right? See what we can get, move them along, or put them away to next year, right? So there's 2 options and I've talked about this all along. But now I'm thinking I have an option 3, right? Do I do the opposite of what I feel most people are doing right now in the hobby? And when I say that, I mean trading up, because I see a lot of people, and a lot of people are making comments too. If you go back on episodes on YouTube, and you read through the comments, a lot of people are saying people are trying to trade down. They're taking these bigger cards and they want to trade down into liquid cards, more affordable liquid cards, right? So the zig and zag, right? Do I zig when people are zagging? Why people are trying to trade down, to more, you know, liquid sellable cards, do I go the opposite way? Do I take some of these cards that look sellable but have become stale for me, right? Cards that I've picked up at shows over the last 3, 4, 5 months that never move, that are still in my case. Where when I talk about, July, June, July, August, having 3 cases full of football cards, right? Now I was down to about 1 case of football, maybe less, maybe a half a case to 3/4 of a case, sitting out there that I've sold off most of my football, right? But now I've got a handful of cards in there that, again, they appear liquid. They're what people are looking for. They're quarterbacks, they're PSA 10s, they're autographs, things like that. Do I try to go the other way, right? Do I try to take those cards that aren't selling for me anyways and try to trade them up into something bigger, level up, especially to something that I would love to put right into my PC. Um, and I've been doing this long enough to know, in order for that to work, in order for the level up part to work, to trade up part to work, the key for me, anyways, is always to have some cash to add to the deal. Um, because what I found in my years of doing this, that the cash on top usually seals the deal. It's what people are looking for at the end of a trade. It's what people are looking for to push them over the edge. And I've been there. I've been on that side of the table, and I know the mentality. I know that feels. It's like, I'm getting these cards and I'm getting good value on these cards. Oh, and you want to throw me some cash on top of it? Yeah, I'm feeling really good now. Like, we can make this deal. So doing the same thing, just the opposite way. Uh, and I'm gonna call this my Chasing Goats tour, right? That actually started earlier this week. So putting myself in the mindset is like, okay, I've got all this football, you know, left over. A lot of it has become stale. A lot of it, people are really not looking at it because price or for whatever reason, in my case, right? Can I move these and move them into something bigger? Um, so I actually started earlier this week. Now I don't have much football on Veriswap. I have a lot of the women's basketball and the soccer. I do have some football out there. I have a bunch of cards on Veriswap. And I just started looking around and, messaging people of cards that I saw that and say, cards that usually, if you're trading, right, you're trading football for football or basketball to basketball. But in this case, I have a lot of Caitlin Clark cards up there. Maybe somebody's interested in those that wants to get out of one of my named goats, right? So I came across a Tom Brady Bowman 2000, Bowman rookie BGS 85. I was able to make a deal with a Caitlin Clark and an Angel Reese card to make a trade for a 2000 Tom Brady Bowman rookie, BGS 8.5. Goat number one, right? Made that trade during the week, and that card is incoming. I've not received it yet. So card number two, the next card in the Chasing Goats tour, is a much bigger card, even for me. And it was a card that met all my criteria. And again, I'm going to say, I did not expect, when I saw this card in my 2 laps and 3 laps around, and I saw this card, I went back saying, in my mind, there's no way this dealer is going to part with this card, but I'll talk to him anyways, right? Um, and again, the card met uh, all my criteria. So what's the criteria for me? Rookie card, on card auto, numbered. I like numbered, and low numbered is even better. Low pop is even better, and graded. I like the graded aspect for it because I don't have to worry if it's a fake card, right? And it's of a player who is what, a GOAT or at the top of their sport, right? Um, so I ended up finding this card. It's a 2017 Panini Contenders Optic, Patrick Mahomes, Rookie of the Year, Contenders Auto, PSA 8, and it is numbered to 25. And if you're on YouTube, I'm going to hold this card up. And if you know anything about Mahomes and his rookie autos, his 2017 rookie autos are different than most of his other autos. Where he signed these with both his first and his last name, he signed these cards, and it's a lot. It's funny because when we were talking, when I had the when I did the interview, I'm trying to think what episode that was. Episode 22, when I brought on Kevin DeCaptain on, and he was talking about Tom Brady, talking to him about changing his signature from his his rookie signature, and then after a year or two he was signing cards differently. And these are similar. So if you look, and I'll just hold this up again, if you're on YouTube and watching, you can see the signature, and it looks different than what most of his signatures are. So again, something else that's pretty cool. And again, this card is numbered to 25. And I know what you're thinking, that I probably had to pry this out of the dealer's hands, And when I saw it, I was thinking the same thing. Like, even if I was able to make a deal on this card, that I wasn't going to have to overpay so much, to get into it. And when I looked up the comps on the card and I asked what he was selling it for, he wasn't that far over what the last sale was, right? And I was okay with that. I was fine with that. I felt his price was fair, and actually I was a little surprised on the price he gave it to me. Because if it was my card, which it is now, and I looked at that comp, I would have been much, much higher than what that last sale was, which took place over the summer. So I asked, "Hey, are you interested in trade plus cash?" And immediately he's like, "No, no, no, no. I really want to get, cash on this card." Um, I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I mean, have a look. I got some nice stuff in here. You want to take a look and see what I got?" He's like, "All right, let me look." So I opened up, and I only brought a small case. I didn't bring many cards with me. Uh, and he started going through the box, and then he started pulling cards out, right, to comp the cards. And I said, "Okay, we're on now, right? Now we have to start the dance. Right? Now it's time to dance." And every card he pulled out, his evaluation, he valued all the cards. Like, I think he was in the 70 to 75% range, right? With a long explanation convincing me that that's why it should be this. Well, people aren't buying Jalen Hurts now, so you can't go buy just stuff like that, right? Every card, there was something particular about the card that it had to be lower than the last comp, but I stood there, I smiled and shook my head and I listened. And of course, when he was done, went back, I made him an offer up front, and he's like, "No, no, no, we would be too far apart." Immediately when he pulled some cards out before we went through, because I knew what the prices of the cards were. So when he pulled it out, I said, "Look, if you like these cards, like," and I had prices, because I set up as a dealer, I have price on my cards, and I know what the value is in the card, and then I know what the 90% is on it, right? So I said, "Look, I could do this on this, this on this, this on this, this with this much cash. I get to you where you want." And at the beginning, he was like, "No, no, 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 we would be too far off. I couldn't, give you those, buy those cards at that price." Okay, well, let's dance then. And of course, the back and forth conversation, negotiation. Um, I was able to consistently get each card back to 88 to 90%, right? I'm not saying everyone was at 90%, but close, close. We were in the right range, rounding off. And for me, the prices that we were coming up with these cards, if anyone came up to my table and offered me that, and on some of them, maybe even offered me a little less, sold, right? I would have taken it because we're at that part of the season now where these cards are really, unless these players do something amazing or make it to the Super Bowl, right? Or go deep, make a deep playoff run. That's the only reason these cards are going to go up at this point. Um, the season is already baked into these cards. So watching the market go down, I know where the price of these cards are going, and I'd rather move them, than try to hold on to them and watch them go even lower. So yeah, so most of the prices we came to, I would have sold those cards at that price. So I was way okay doing it this way. And I was okay paying a slight premium, knowing that here were the comps on the card, and this is what he was, where he wanted to be at. I was okay with that too. Again, I'm moving cards that I feel are stale for me to end up with a Patrick Mahomes on card rookie auto, number to 25. I mean, it's a home run for me. The annoying part about this, right, is we could have had this deal done in 15 minutes, right? But it took over an hour of the back and forth and the comps and the negotiating and the back and the forth and why I think it's this and why he thinks it's that. The offer I made him in the first 15 minutes was the offer he made me after an hour. After we stood there an hour and we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on the cards, right? And I may be exaggerating slightly, maybe a 45 to 50 minute, right? But more closer to an hour than to 40 minutes, right? He made me that same offer. At the end, the offer I offered him in the first 15 minutes, he made me that offer. So I played the game. I danced with him, right? And now this card is coming home with me, came home with me, and it's just going to go into my PC. And there was a time at the very end when everything was on the table, the cards, the cash. I thought he was going to back out. And I could feel it all of a sudden. And if you've ever been at a table and you're ever watching, and you're at the very end, and then you see them go into that deep thought and they're looking at their card and they're looking at all my cards and the cash. I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. After all this, he's just going to say no. I know it's coming. I know it's going to be like, I can't do it or I need more. But he ended up letting it go. He ended up saying, all right, it's a fair deal for both sides, which I felt it was. And I'm glad he felt it was the same way too. And I understand, we both looked at this card differently. He looked at this card as a business decision, right? What he and apparently he had just picked this card up recently. What his best decision is, whether to move this card or to take trade and cash and move smaller cards that way, right? And myself, it's a PC card. It's a card I'm not going to take it and be putting it in my case that shows. It's going to stay home here in the office because it's not going to be for sale. So I got the deal done. Super excited about that. On Sunday, I set up at the New Britain show. I brought my cards. I brought a bunch of the non-sport card collection I bought. I've been going through that, piecing some of it out. So I brought some of those binders over and threw them up on a table, spread them out. And I also had the Don Russ football, the Costco exclusives, all the rage now. I talked about it with the giant, the jumbo downtown. I purchased some of those online, and on Friday I was able to go to my local Costco store and pick some more up there. And I'm thankful I did, because that was the only thing I sold today was wax. I did not sell one card out of my case at a card show. I sold all the wax, every bit of wax I brought, I sold. Uh, there was definitely more dealers than attendees at the show today. And I really don't think anybody was looking to buy. Um, I talked to a lot of people there and I'm like, how you doing? All right. And that tells me it's just not, it's again, it's almost dealers selling to dealers at a show, right? Um, this is the second show I've been at where no one has made an offer on a card or even asked about a price on a card in my case. Football, basketball, pop culture, nothing. Not even asked about a price. Um, and talking to dealers, most have the same day I did. Um, so it's tough. It's tough getting up. It's tough getting out there, setting up, and hoping for the best. And it's not. I'm super happy. I brought that wax with me today because I had all that wax sold 15, 20 minutes into the show. These guys just came and bought it all. So it's like playing with house money at the casino, right? Show up and win, and it's like it's an easy day. The rest of the day, you don't have to worry, right? So it almost felt like that today. I did have 2 pickups today, but not from the show I was at, from another show about 35, 40 minutes away. And shout out to my guy Scott, who quarterbacked the two card deal, through FaceTime, and he saw these cards at another show, and he FaceTimed me and he took some pictures, and I also want to shout out to my guy Brandon at Insta Famous Ferris, because they were his cards at the other show for the easy deal on the 2 cards. So it were 2 Paige Becker's cards, the Bowman Chrome, the base PSA 10, holding that up, and the Paige Becker's Pink Refractor PSA 10. So again, a couple cards I'll pick up that will probably come out and get put out in maybe February or so, February to early March. Oh, um, I really think this is a perfect time in the hobby. If there is a card that you're looking for your PC, or something that you're saying, this is a card I'd really like to acquire at some point, I really think now is a good time to start looking at that and try to make a move. Um, Especially when people are feeling a little down on the current market and you don't know what a dealer is going through at a show, right? And for instance, a perfect example is me getting this card today, because if 9 out of 10 cases this card would have sat in, I don't think it would have been for sale, or if it was for sale, it would have been at an astronomical price, right? So it was just right place, right time, with the right cards and the right amount of cash, right? To make that deal, to make it work for me. Um, and I'm glad I was in the mindset of the chasing goats, that I put myself there saying, right now is a good time. And here is proof that it is a good time. So if you have a card in mind, or something that you've been chasing, you felt that maybe unattainable or too expensive for any reason, um, look again at your shows. You know, Online is very tough. I know people get deals done online all the time, but like the eBays and stuff like that, it's tough to get a card for a good deal, and it's even harder to try to trade cash and things like that. So, um, when people are feeling a little down about the market, right? It's a good time to, try to find some Grail cards or some PC cards or something you've been wanting to get. I know according to Card Ladder, right, prices are down on most of their indexes, but volume is up, right? So people are buying more cards at lower prices, right? So when I see that prices are coming down, right, I felt it was time to head out on my chasing goats tour. Tell me what you think. Are you looking to make a move on a bigger PC card? Do you feel now is the time or no? Heck no, this is a terrible time right now. And we got the holidays coming too. So people may be more motivated too with that too. You never know. Are you trying to trade down? Are you trying to trade out of a bigger card into some smaller liquid cards to make it easier to sell these cards? Or are you just going to sit back and say, you know what? I'm not going to do either. I'm just going to sit back. I want to see where the market's going to go. I don't want to make any moves, big moves, small moves, no moves. I want to wait to see. I know we know this time of year, this is what happens this time of year. So what are your plans? What are you thinking? That's all I have. You can hear I'm almost losing my voice here. I'm so excited yesterday getting this. And you know what? It's not all I have. Those Origins hobby, I have to report in. I got them. Yeah, when I got home yesterday from the show, I had a package sitting here, the 2 Origins WNBA hobby boxes that I ordered. I was like last night, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna open them. But I think you probably knew that was coming. I did pretty well. I didn't bring the hits around. I got a nice Angel Reese auto, which covered the cost of one box anyways. And I got some really great rookie patches of other players that low number, one number to 10, one number to 25. So I probably didn't recoup back 100%, but I probably got 60, 70% back. So, I guess with that, you can almost say it was a win because one box was really good and one box was terrible. If I ordered one box and I had just opened up a Dawn Staley auto and a couple number cards to 99, I'd probably been upset, but the second box definitely made up for the bad first box. But I did sell, right? I told you when I got those Don Russ things, I sold them all. I wasn't interested in ripping any of those. I made sure I sold them. So that's it. I'll be back Wednesday afternoon, probably brand new episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.